Alright, she's recording. Clap sync. 3, dose, trace.
You said 3 twice.
Alright. 3, dose. Yeah, I graduated. We graduated high school.
Yeah, we learned our numbers 12 years ago. Woohoo! I threw my hat and I lost it at the actual graduation.
That kind of happened. They encourage us not to throw our hats because that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember how much we paid for that, but it was probably more than we wanted to.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I wrote my name on the inside just in case I did lose it.
That's cool.
So then I can go fish it out of the dozens of hundreds of people that also did it. But I only threw mine 2 feet in the air because I was like...
Fair enough. Now, I wasn't planning on doing it, and then I saw everybody else doing it. I was like, why not? And then I just took it off and flung it to high hell. And now it's gone. That shit is never to be found again. So,
yeah.
Yep.
4 years, man.
4 years.
4 years.
Really, 12 years.
12 years. Yeah, we are no longer a part of the Upper Arlington
capitalist society. We're still part of that. Don't worry. We're still prisoners. Am I right, folks? Let's get into that today. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
It's crazy, man. I mean, we've so many people that we've known and worked with and hated and for so long, and now it's you'll maybe see
5 of them.
5 of them
ever again.
Ever again.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah. To be quite honest,
there's a lot of people I won't miss, but there's also a lot of people I will miss.
Yeah.
Because, for the longest time, I was like, I can't wait to just graduate and never see these people again. But then, towards the end of the year, when I started doing theater production and meeting more people that I actually enjoyed being around and just, being with my current friends, you begin to realize that you're probably going to miss high school a little more.
Yeah.
At least that's what it was for me.
Yeah, graduation was surprisingly emotional.
Yeah.
A little bit. Wasn't the whole time. I wasn't just for 4 hours, but there were little pockets of oh god, speaking of oh god, this thing is a sweatsuit. So I'm gonna just shed
that in here.
Support local. I'm wearing a Piata shirt.
Support local. Buy my merch.
He is local.
I am local.
I got this shirt in 4th grade. Can you tell it was huge on me back then? Shout out.
You're saying you haven't been the same size for the past...
I've been 145 pounds for 12 years.
No. You came out of the womb just the size that
I was
you were.
oh god, it's hot in
They
there.
had to get the jaws of life and just open and just yank you out. Reverse.
Shout out to Jack Duty, who was one of my buds in 4th grade. He was the guy who gave me this shirt. He's a son of the dude who actually started it. Shout out Jack Duty. He's a good guy.
Shout out me for designing. Okay, so basically this is just the name of my channel.
It's one of the old gods.
It's one of the old gods. And I just was browsing different fonts and I was like, hey, it's the Batman Forever font. I'll just use that and then fucking boom.
Nice.
So yeah, if you guys want them, you can buy them, but nobody's bought them.
Speaking of buying things,
you can
that
buy
relate to us
stuff from us because we got new merch out in the store.
Yes.
We posted on the Instagram. We got watermelon steak sauce meme
from 2 episodes ago. I say last episode because we recorded that one beforehand.
We got 3 times, 3 times, 3 times.
Yes.
We got the OG logo.
And we had one pulled.
We had we had the ongoing joke. We have the new Kanye, old Kanye joke going on in the show.
Very funny joke.
Good joke.
It's very funny. I take all credit.
We put up a shirt, so I was just like, all right, let's see what I can do. I took a picture of Kanye's face off the internet, and I threw it into Photoshop.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah, and then I shittily traced it with the Photoshop pen. And then I just did new Kanye question mark, old Kanye question mark. But because it still looked like Kanye.
Yeah.
UMG was you can't make money off of that, and so they pulled it from the Redbubble store.
Here's what we have to do.
Which is fair.
I know what we have to do. We have to do what Payday 2 did, where they brought in fucking John Wick or whatever, and then...
Talking about Fortnite?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking...
Fortnite. We like Fortnite.
Maybe... I don't know if it's still John Wick for that one. I think it was John Wick. And they brought him in, but they couldn't use Keanu Reeves' likeness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was just a dude that was named John Wick, but it didn't even look like him. So it was just kind of silly. You know what I mean?
So then do we just get, like...
We should get a Kanye lookalike, take a photo of him, and just have that. Does anyone else look like him ever?
I mean, I don't know. He's a pretty unique specimen.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I feel like there's only so far that we can take that without just being racist.
Sure. I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of nothing that we've been talking about, let's cover one more message. We are still sponsored by The Green Room.
Yes, The Green Room. They've been helping us out, paying our distribution fees so that you beautiful people can listen to this on all your different platforms.
Which is probably why we're doing well at all.
Yes.
Yes.
But we're also on YouTube, where if you're, watch the video podcast, then you can check us out on here. On YouTube.
Y'all need to get on that, because we haven't been getting very many views for the videos.
Yeah, so. Come on, guys. We put a lot of effort into it. We got, these, $20 lights up here with, this old camera that my old backup camcorder. It's professional.
We're working hard for you.
We're working hard.
We're crying.
So that you can see my garbage facial hair every week.
And you can see my my non-sponsored local merch. We aren't sponsored by them. Probably should be.
Hit us up.
Just by the fact that I'm wearing it,
Yeah. But anyway, Green Room helping us out. We're helping get their name out there. They're helping us out. If you haven't heard this podcast before, you haven't heard me talk about them, basically they're a local shop that plans on opening up later in the year. That's the plan so far, at least from what I'm told. They're going to have products from, t-shirts to some tobacco and vape products, I believe, and similar to if you've ever been to a Spencer's, waterbeds and stuff, store like that. So if you guys are interested in stuff like that, make sure you tune into the podcast for updates on when you can, visit one of these stores and hear more about what kind of stuff they'll be selling, because it sounds pretty interesting.
We're out on the market. We got street sign flavored vape pods, so we're in there.
Tastes like tetanus.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, get your vaccines before you hit that.
Yes.
Yeah. I do have a very large announcement to make. That Gage does not know about, and that I plan to.
You're pregnant?
Surprise! I am pregnant. You're the brother. But if you'll allow me to get behind you real quick, I've been hiding something from you for the past 7 minutes and 41 seconds.
Did you buy the street sign? You motherfucker.
My dad bought street signs.
Motherfucker. Oh my god.
Dude, look at these. Look at these things. This is real metal. This is full top quality. Did you hear that knock?
Damn, son.
Top notch stuff, dude. And shout out Minor Figure. I was talking about this before the episode, telling him I was gonna freak you out with them. But we both have our own street signs now, and so we can be vain as shit.
Jesus, man.
So we'll find some way.
Dope.
Yeah, isn't it sweet? So we're gonna find some way.
Thank you, man.
To make this part of every episode.
We'll try. Yeah, we got the actual Gap Street logo street sign.
Yeah. This is gonna be the thumbnail right here.
It'll be the thumbnail.
Yeah. Just hold it for a second. There it is.
There it is.
Beautiful. All right, let's set on my bed. That's good stuff.
We gotta figure out how we're gonna make it part of the set, man.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be moving out here soon.
Yeah, same.
So I'll have wall space.
Figure out dedicated spots.
Yeah, you'll be moving out of my house.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out dedicated spots in both of our new places where we can record.
Dude, my closet's gonna be huge.
Your closet?
My closet's gonna be enormous.
Like the size.
Like the biggest closet I've ever had. Really? Not the size of this room, but
bigger than your current one?
Yeah, a walk-in.
Really?
Yeah. But the rest of the place is one floor tiny. But
yeah,
the location is what's important.
Yeah.
But my closet's pretty large, so it's a possible location. But let's get back to the topic of this episode. High school story time.
High school story time.
This is real. This is what we're about. We just left high school for good.
Mm-hmm.
We were seniors in high school, and now we're tiny little college freshmen.
We were at the top of the totem pole, and now we're back at the bottom. Started from the top, now we're here.
Now we're sitting in
made it to the top, and then we fall. And then we fell.
That'd be just the worst album ever. Started at the top, now I'm shit. This.
It's
No one
just
would
like
listen to
Bart
that.
Simpson lo-fi hip-hop sad boy memes.
Eat my shorts. But, like, sampled.
Yeah.
And it's just over and over again.
Yeah, but...
So we're now sponsored by Kroger Seltzer. No, I'm just kidding.
not.
We're not.
But, alright,
We're not sponsored by the Croge.
high school, it was a time.
It was a time. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, but it was mostly the worst of
We
times.
reached our highs and we reached our lows.
Yeah, it's true.
You got any specific stories that stand out from your high school years?
First story time is quick. How we started this podcast, because that was during high school.
That was during high school.
February 6th was the release of the very first episode of this show that you are currently indulging in.
That's true.
And we were chilling in this very room right here, and we were all like, hey, what are we doing? And I was like, I have had a podcast itch for like months, because I've done a few in the past, and I've always had fun, and I just want a consistent thing. And you were like, dude, it's a good idea.
Let me go grab my Yeetie in my laptop.
Let me get
The laptop we originally
microphone.
recorded on is now like shit the bed so many times now, because I think the hard drive is busted.
Nice.
Because I originally, so I got it, it had Windows 7 on it.
Yeah.
When I was like, but I can't edit using HitFilm on a Windows 7. So I put Windows 10 on it. It did not like that at all. Then I put Ubuntu onto it and it was working, and then it just shit the bed. And then I loaded it back up, and now it takes forever to boot if it does decide it wants to boot. So I think I just need to get a new hard drive for it. I think that's the problem. But so we've been using Corey's beef machine over there.
Yeah, I've had this thing for like 5 years. It was,
You've had that
out
pre-high
to my-
school, didn't
yeah,
you?
I had it from 8th grade. Shout out to my dad for buying this laptop for me. It's been future-proof for like up to 6 years now.
I'm surprised how long that thing has lasted.
Dude.
Like with the the graphics chip, it's like
Yeah.
it's not even like it's pretty old, but it still like holds up well to newer titles, which is very impressive.
I can still play pretty solid games
Yeah, that's nice.
pretty well. So, yeah. Shout out to Asus as well.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. Gotta get that sponsorship. Let's go. But we started in February 6th, and now we're going to have had 8 guests? No, we've already had 8 guests.
This is
So-
episode 16.
Wait.
So yeah.
Yeah. So Kenneth would have been our 8th guest.
Wait, episode
Guest.
2 was with Mike.
Yeah.
3 was with
Evan.
Evan. Then 4 was just you and I.
And then it was,
And then it was
Zay and
Zay and Luke.
Luke. And then episode 7, who did we interview for that?
7.
That was Jackson Sloan.
Yeah.
And then 9 was Dante Wood Spikes.
Did we do Dante before we did Susan?
Yes. 11 was Susan.
Okay.
13 was Ruth. 15 was Ken. And we'll announce the next one this coming Sunday.
We've got an idea of who we want to be on. It's just a matter of reaching out to him and.
I'm pretty
confirm.
sure we're gonna do it tomorrow.
Oh wait,
So,
no. Okay, no.
we've already got it set
I'm
up.
thinking the guest after the one that we've
Oh.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got. So 17 is confirmed.
Yes. 19.
19
not.
is TBD, but we have an idea.
To Bill, the best damn band on the land. To be determined in the land.
Yes.
That's what that means. Yes.
This is the. Trying to think how much. So, I've been doing like small production stuff pretty much all through high school. I started doing production. Like I started doing small video work when I first got a laptop back in 6th grade. Was my shitty old MacBook, and I started just making videos using the webcam on that. But that laptop didn't have iMovie on it because it didn't come with what iLife was at the time, which where you had to buy that separately. And I didn't realize that there was other like free editing softwares that I could have just downloaded and used because smooth brain. So I didn't really know anything about computer software or anything like that. So I would record the videos on my laptop, put those onto a thumb drive, and then take that thumb drive and take it to my mom's iMac that she had in her bedroom, which was just a little bit better than my laptop. And then I would edit them on that because her computer had iLife and had iMovie on it. This was like iMovie 6, I think at the time it was. iMovie 5 or 6.
What is it on now?
It's like 12.
Nice.
Um,
Literally half of the iMovies ago.
yeah. It might have been later than that, but Yeah, and then that's how I started, and then eventually I started doing stuff with my friends Jake, Emerson, and Will. We did a little thing called Lefties Right Productions where we had skits, vlogs, and we started doing podcasting stuff too. That fell under because I did a video back in the day that was like a Call of Duty in real life video, and I figured, we don't have a lot of content right now. Let's go ahead and just put it up on that channel, and we'll have it there. Everybody else was cool, but one other guy was like, no, I don't want to do it. But it was like, in democracy,
Was this before high school or during?
This was freshman year.
Okay.
This was freshman year.
This is another high school story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so he got mad at one guy, and then I uploaded it, so the one guy got mad at me that I did that, and then it just kind of all fell apart. And I started doing my own stuff for a while as like Parzival and Gage Stifler, just kind of doing my own stuff. And then Cory hit me up talking about the outage couch.
I'm the networker
if you want, you can talk about the origin of that, how that started.
Do I even remember? Okay, I don't know if I take credit for the name entirely anymore. The story has been so warped in my memory by other people's accounts that it just doesn't really even matter to me anymore. I was hanging out with our buddy boy Dylan Davis one night.
Miles Davis, as he's known
Miles
in the
Davis, yes.
music community.
With dollar signs, mind you. Don't forget that.
And a Y in Miles.
Yeah. So he's recreating the old personality. But we were hanging out, and by the way, Dylan, if you're listening to this, I still fuck with steamed carrots, just so you know. But I was talking about certain things that would happen on my couch back then, and I think after I put the description out there, you'll put it together yourself. But
originally the idea was whip it out couch.
Yeah, that's what it was, and I won't name names, but that certain things
were whipped out
and
on that couch.
Certain things occurred inside my room. Yes. And I said, well, one of us said, that's a mouthful. So we gotta change the name a little bit. Why not? The outage couch. Holy shit. And then that just kind of...
Yeah.
And then I think the original... What Jake and I like to call the original bigots were me, Sam...
Jake and
Mike. Because we made... Sam made the Muscle Milk Mike video. And
yeah.
Just kind of went from there. That video has like 600 views or so.
Yeah.
Or it did. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The first video though was what got me interested was your Steam Greenlight video that you did, which was
was the first video on the channel.
That was real. I was like super impressed with how well that was done.
Why, thank you. I was a sophomore too.
Yeah.
I just shit on anime games and 8-bit games on Steam.
So now we're at sophomore year. Cory has established his brand. I've established mine.
Yes.
Cory was like, "Hey, you've got experience. You want to like hitch a ride on this crazy train?"
On this? Yes.
And I was like,
"Take a seat on the couch."
Sure. And so for a while, I was a member, kind of helping out with a lot of the production stuff, creating some of my own content for the channel, just assisting in production as much as possible. And eventually, through some behind-the-scene conflicts, the outage couch kind of died down.
Yeah.
There was just so much going on.
A storm brewed.
Yeah.
And speaking of storms, there was a fucking tornado in Dayton last night.
Yeah. And
I was up at midnight down in my basement. But anyway, that's wild. Continue. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. So there was just so much going on. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly why it failed because there were a few reasons.
Yeah.
I think. But
we're past it though.
Yeah, it just kind of faded away. But Cory and I, we still wanted to do something together, and that's where this podcast came out of. Because we both had experience, and he has like experience with doing video and audio stuff. I had experience doing short films that I had done for school and doing stuff for Outage Couch, Lefties Right on my own stuff.
Can we make Gab Street the movie?
Gab Street the movie.
Let's do that. hire some pedestrians.
Like, yeah. I feel like it'd be one of those like street talk shows.
Yeah. We have props.
Yeah. What's it like, Billy on the Street or something, where he just goes up and just like runs up to people with a microphone. He's like, I'll give you $1 if you say this or something. I don't know.
It's a lot of money back then.
But yeah, here we are, still doing the podcast. You're going off to college to learn about the human brain.
Yeah, going off to college.
You're walking.
I'm not leaving
down the street.
Yeah, I'm literally walking down Gap Street to college. Like it's not a huge thing.
I'm going to work on more movies. I might be trying to, because I know the school I'm going to, they have a podcast of their own, and in the media production, you can either do like their school like news show, or you can help out with the podcast. So I might be helping out on another podcast as well as doing this one.
Cool.
So
build that portfolio, son.
Yeah.
I have a high school story to tell.
He's got stories.
I do. I'm story man now, and we're actually already 20 minutes in. Shit. Junior year, the summer between junior and senior year, I've mentioned before on this podcast how I volunteered at 2x2 Hip Hop Fest. Shout out 2x2 and Josh Miller. They just announced their lineup for this year, and it is amazing. They have like Saw Rock and Blue and Exile, and just fucking, it's a crazy lineup, dude. But I'm definitely going this year. But I'm just going to go this year, but I used to volunteer. And I volunteered that summer, which was last summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told beforehand that I might be driving somebody to the festival, like a performer. And I wasn't told who it was. But I looked at the roster of artists last year. We had Elzai, we had Sky Zoo and Apollo Brown, we had Prof, and
these are all just a bunch of local performers?
These are national people.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they're big. And I'm so proud of Josh Miller and their team for getting those kind of acts together. And this time around, it's even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But they got like Rhyme Sayers people on there, which is
yeah, nice,
awesome. But so I got there, and I was there for a few hours helping out, and Josh Miller walks up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna have you do what we talked about." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "You're gonna drive Prof to 2x2. I was like, "No fucking way. Like, are you kidding me right now?" And so I went off and picked up Prof from a hotel. I was 17 at the time. That'll come into play later. So there's a funny bro moment that comes with that. But I get in my car, and his manager comes with me. His manager is super funny, super cool. And shout out Senseless. I played your music in the car just so that Prof's ears could get used to it. But just to give him a little Columbus flavor. I'm always repping. But I ought to wear his shirt next time. Or I gave that to you, didn't I?
I don't have it anymore.
The Senseless shirt?
It doesn't fit me.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, double shout out Senseless, because he's amazing. He makes great music.
He's a good dude.
Check out his song Gene. It's
yeah,
really good.
He came into when you did Hip Hop Club. He came in. That was like, I think that was the first meeting I was able to really go to, and I was like super impressed. Like, not gonna like when you hear like local performers a lot. At first, it was kind of just I keep clicking this. Sorry, I'm fidgeting.
Set it down.
I was just kind of like, oh, SoundCloud rapper, but then I was like, oh, this guy's on Spotify, and his shit is actually pretty good. And so like for like months, I was just listening to. God, what's that album that Gene's on?
Living on Land.
Living on Land. I would just listen to that album on repeat.
And I'll tell a story about that club later, so we'll get into that for sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. But I went with his manager. We drove to the hotel. I don't remember what hotel it was. It was just like a regular ass hotel.
Hyatt,
probably one of those chain places. And we chill outside for a minute. And like Prof never waits on you. Like you're waiting on Prof. Like that's the only viable situation. And we pull up to the outside, and he's like, okay, I texted Prof. And he's like, you fucking texted Prof? Like, that's stupid. Like, that shouldn't be a thing you just said. And we're waiting for him to walk out. And I turn to my right, and I look, and there's just fucking Prof, like, walking through a regular-ass hotel lobby toward my car with one other dude, his DJ. And they both get into my car, and Prof's just in my car, sitting in my back seat with his DJ and his manager, and I'm driving, and I'm 17 fucking years old. I'm a volunteer at this festival, and immediately Prof goes, I want Chipotle, let's go to Chipotle. And I was like, I'll take you to Chipotle. And I plugged it into my phone, and we went to Chipotle, and he got some food, and he came out and he ate it in my car, and it was great. And he was like, dude, Chipotle's so good, can I talk about that for a minute? And then we just kind of like talked about it. And my favorite moment from that day was when his DJ, I think goes by Wonka. His music's like chocolate. It's the Chocolate Factory. Sweet music. Haha, I get it. But
joke.
Big funny.
Big funny.
Big meme. Yes.
Big brain. Big funny.
Big smooth brain. And Wonka goes, hey, kid, do you know where the best strip clubs are in Columbus? And my exact verbatim response was, dude, I am dead-ass 17 years old. And they lost their shit, saying like, dead-ass, oh my god. And I made a celebrity laugh. But like, they were losing, they were like, oh, it's okay, man. And there were a few times where I stopped at a yellow just because I didn't want to, get in a car wreck killing several celebrities.
Yeah.
And which you think, and they're like, come on, pussy, come on. Like, they're just messing with me the whole drive. And they started talking about some really gross whack shit. Like, it was funny. And they were just so inappropriate and vulgar. And it was a great time. And
absolute fucking disgusting. I had the time of my life.
Exactly. Here's the actually disgusting part. And this is the only bad thing I'm going to say. They didn't tip me when I dropped them off at all. I'm a volunteer. I don't get paid for that job. He's a pretty well-known rapper. They didn't tip me, and I kind of I know it's not required, but they had a good time.
I think and
I kept it cool in the car.
The honor of having someone that big.
I know.
In the car, though, I think would be.
It's still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, oh, come on, man. Like, you got a good time. And you have the money. But I don't know. It was still cool. I enjoyed the time. That was between junior and senior year of high school. Dude, we can say back in high school now.
Yeah.
We're so old.
Fuck. I'm still 17.
Yeah. You're a baby, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn 19 in August.
I don't turn 18 until September.
Such a baby, dude. Why are you even here?
Because I was born. I don't mean there's a lot of ways you can answer that question.
Can I tell one more story in a row?
I mean, I suppose.
That okay?
I mean,
okay.
It's your house.
The why are you even here reminded me of this. So, oh god, should I even say his name? It's somebody from our high school that's kind of...
Don't say his name. Trying to describe him.
Okay.
I don't know. Just
alright, I'm not going to say his name just for the sole
privacy.
purpose of not having the shit kicked out of me, because he totally could, and he prides himself on being able to kick the shit out of people. But there's this dude who graduated last year who was kind of beefy, and he was a wrestler, and he was known for being so jockey that the jocks didn't like him. He was ascended jock. If you could have tiers, he's S tier jock, but but they didn't like him because he was just kind of a dick. And he had a YouTube channel, and it was just his name, Fitness YouTube. And one of my friends made a parody of it, called His Name Fitness YouTube, and they just did a total parody channel. It was funny, but this guy made a video called Chest Day, and it was just like, "Hey guys, it's chest day today. Whoa, I lift weights," and then he just goes and like does bench presses and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious and memeable as hell. I'm gonna take advantage of this." And so I was in track and field at the time, and I quit after freshman year because I hated that sport mostly, but we'll get into that later. And I was in the locker room, which used to be like outside and detached from the building. Don't know why that's relevant, but I thought that was funny. And I was in the locker room getting ready for a meet, I think, and this guy was also in there. I think something was also going on with wrestling. And I walk up to him, and this is the most like mischievous I've ever been. Like, I have never had this big of stones ever in any other part of my life.
Kidney stones.
Yeah, I passed a stone that day. It was horrible. No, but like, I've never had the balls to do this ever again or before that. I walked up to this dude who had never talked to me. I was like, "Oh my god, dude, you run the channel with the fitness?" And he's like, "Dude, what, bro? You like?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm subscribed, dude. It's like so cool." I had never watched anything other than Chest Day, and I even watched like 30 seconds of Chest Day. I just knew that Chest Day was a thing, and I wanted to mess with him so bad. And he was like, "Dude, like, that's so cool. Like, thanks for watching my channel." And I'm like, "Dude, is it Chest Day?" And he's like, "Dude, it's always Chest Day." And then his fatal mistake here was, "Dude, how much do you bench?" And I turn to him and I go, "Dude, I don't bench." And his exact response was, "Why are you talking to me?"
What the fuck?
"Why are you even here?" Like a complete 180 immediately. He just goes, "Why are you even talking to me?" And he turns to his buddy. He's like, "Who is this kid? Who is this kid? Get out of me! Get him out of here!" And I was just kind of like the episode of Family Guy where he's like, "Mama," or like, I was like, and I just ran out. And that was to this day probably the meanest I've ever been to someone, like out of pure malicious reasons. But I don't regret it at all.
That's not even that bad.
It's not that bad.
I was expecting like we're in the locker room and I just
pantsed him and I shoved a dumbbell up his ass.
Yeah.
Or something.
And threw him into a locker.
No, that would be funnier. No,
that would be.
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
I have no.
You
idea.
don't?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you after this.
Okay.
But he actually, the friend that I mentioned who made the channel, he found out about the parody channel, and he walked into the band room, and my buddy Ethan was there, and he goes, "Hey, Ethan, I'm looking for this other guy," and he's like, "He's not here." And he looks behind Ethan, and he's actually there sitting, or just standing by a chair. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Well, you freaking lied to me." And he walks behind him, and he's like, "Dude, why are you like bullying me?" And he walks up to the dude, and the parody guy, who is just always a big meme guy, just goes like, "Whoa, Chest Day," or something. Like, it's just so stupid. And the beefy dude pushes him back, like physically shoves him, and he falls back into a chair. And he's so quick, where as he's being pushed, he goes, "Whoa!" Like, just to fall back in the chair. And this dude is defeated, because you can't get past that. Like, if you're being either ignored or memed on at the same exact time
that you're trying to physically assault
someone. Like, if you're being memed on by the person you're physically hurting, like, that's hard.
Yeah.
You know? So, there are a lot of funny memories surrounding that guy, and just how much of a big douche he was. It was so funny. Oh, God. Yeah. You still don't know who I'm talking about?
No, I have no
You're, like, very prominently known for that.
I don't know, man. Idea who this is.
It's pretty funny stuff.
Here's the thing: is like, out of the 4 years I spent at UA, I can name maybe 50% of our graduating class.
Okay. I mean, you mean like off the top of your head?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's hard.
Yeah, like not even
it's
off
like
the
naming
top
all
of
the
my
countries
head.
of the world. You know.
I mean, if I had a pen and paper, I might be able to, but like
Yeah.
to sit here and I don't know. It's just like there's so many people that, and I wish I conversed with more people outside of my circle just for the sake of having that connection and knowing other people. But it's that whole thing in high school where it's just like unless you have like a direct similar interest with somebody or have just either been acquainted with somebody else through just being in the same class with them, the likelihood of you going up and just to somebody that you have never really talked to or seen before, I feel like is very unlikely in a high school environment and in the real world, in a real world environment as well.
I agree. Yeah.
And and knowing people outside of your grade, I feel like it's even more likely that you're not going to know who these people are, because typically it's like, you know, I occasionally, like, the only reason I talk to some kids outside of my grade is because, you know, doing the small theater productions that I was in, pretty much other than me and Mike, our entire cast was sophomores.
Yeah.
And like it was mostly sophomores and seniors that did the little theater productions this year.
You guys did a good job on that.
Thank you.
That was cool. And I did that 2 years. No,
you did it last year.
Last year, and they tried to get me to do it this year, but I have like a job, so you know I couldn't really like make the commitment. God, the teacher that ran all that gave me so much shit.
Yeah, but
for not doing it again.
When he gives you shit, it's kind of like he understands, but it's also kind of like just, hey,
yeah,
hey,
pretty much,
hey,
that,
hey, the fuck is wrong with you? Hey, hey.
That's pretty accurate for him.
But it's like, I don't know. With that teacher, it's kind of a love-hate relation. It's kind of a love or hate relationship. You either like, he's either your favorite teacher or you can't fucking stand him. I feel like the thing is, and I love him to death. I would like, I don't know. He can be a hard ass, but you know, every teacher that I've grown to love has always been like generally pretty fun, but has also kind of had that hard ass attitude. I had a teacher that was like my 5th grade science teacher was like that, and she's one of the greatest. Same thing with my middle school tech teacher. He was awesome, and now it was this teacher. Because it's like, I feel like there's a lot of teachers that I think you kind of need to have a little bit of an aggressive side if you're going to work with kids, because especially in an environment like Upper Arlington where it's a bunch of privileged kids where like a lot of them will never have to work a day in their life or ever have to worry about money, and it's just kind of like,
that's true.
It's just like a bunch of spoiled kids that have no respect for elders. Like having that kind of hard ass attitude I feel like is important, because these kids need to be whipped into shape some way or another.
That's the thing, though, because the only way you're going to have a class of kids that have any sort of respect for you is if you're at, like, a mid-range high school.
Yeah.
Because if you're on the poor end, there are many other different reasons why they have no respect for authority. And then on our end, like you said, we never have to work a day in our lives and, you know, all that stuff. But if you go to a high school in like a relatively affluent town,
probably like some like Dublin, Hilliard,
something like that,
the higher ends of those,
where you hear their names and you're like, yeah, those are probably good kids, you know, like, then that's probably going to be the attitude that you're going to want to go for, because their parents have given them ample support, but not like inheriting a small loan of $1 million support, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think the balance when it comes to like being a good teacher, and this is just from like being in school for 12 years, I feel like I can say this, is that like to be a good teacher, you need to not be boring, and I'll elaborate on that in a second, and you need to have a little bit of a hard side. Because if you're going to be one of those teachers that just kind of like goes up and has them take notes, then it's like they're not going to really be paying attention. You have to have like, similar to like what we talk about with the artists that we have on the show, you need to have like a uniqueness to you. You need to make something that like makes you different from the other teachers. You need to have your own way of making sure that these kids stay engaged in what it is that you're trying to teach.
I'm not like other teachers. I'm worse.
But you know what I mean, where it's just kind of like, I've had teachers that, you know, try to work a little bit of like, they teach in a more comedic way, so that way they know that you're paying attention. Because I feel like if a teacher can make you laugh in the context in like a certain context that's related to what he's trying to teach you, then I feel like you're more susceptible to actually learning the content. That's how I feel like it was for me. Like, teachers that could make me laugh, I had a little bit more respect for, because I feel like if you can make a kid like in our generation laugh, then you kind of understand our generation a little bit more.
It's extraordinarily difficult to understand our humor too. So I'll give them that if they can put in that effort.
But you're gonna have kids that are you're gonna have teenagers that are gonna be rowdy and disrespectful and just being little shits, and I feel like you kind of have to be prepared for that and kind of work with that in your own way. Yeah. And if it means that you kind of have to like, you know, roast them in the middle of class, you know, I feel like embarrassment is a good way to like shut a kid up if he's like misbehaving, because, you know, it's all about reputation in high school.
But you also don't want to be like, haha, I know you have home problems.
Right.
Like, you don't want to go...
Yeah,
like
you don't want to take it super far. You want to be like, just like...
Which, like, that's funny on a different level, but, like...
You want it to be like...
Depending on the situation.
Yeah, it has to be in the context of what the kid was doing in that moment, I think. It has to be like that.
Yeah, it has to be a real bro moment for you to actually do that.
But... Yeah, but I've had those teachers that are just blatantly, like, you know, just sitting back, you know, turn to this thing, read this thing, we'll read in a circle, take notes as you go. Where it's like, I feel like I'm not really learning anything. I'm just kind of like here along for the ride, and my brain's kind of in autopilot, you know?
Yeah. One of the classes I took, this was sophomore year, it was basically a self-taught class. Not because the teacher was bad, but just because it was memorized content, and it was biology. Yeah. So it was honors biology. And it's hard to teach biology, you know?
There's so much going on.
Yeah. And you can't really logic your way through it, which is what I rely on for a lot of my academics. If I can logic my way through something, I'll do a lot better. I can also memorize pretty well, but I need to actually put effort into that. And I don't really need to put effort into logicking through it. So this class kicked my ass because... I didn't study at all for this, and this is what whipped my ass into shape, really. If I had not been allowed to retake every single test in that class, I would have failed that class entirely. Because it was my first class in which I failed a test. Yeah. And that was a wake-up call. I was mortified. I had no idea that this pristine student, I was so perfect.
I went to Wellington.
Yeah, I did go to Wellington for 4 years. Eat me. But, like, I realized that I wasn't impervious, and that class did so much for me. But I got 54s and 42s, and, like, on a good day, I got a 73 on those tests. And I retook them, and I got... like 88s and stuff.
Were you in AP?
No.
You're just
I was in honors.
Honors? Okay.
Yeah. If I had taken regular, I would have fared fine, probably.
Yeah. I was in on level, and for the most part, I was okay. But it was I do okay in cruise control, but another thing is that my biology teacher, it was one of those situations where if you got a C on the quiz or test, you had to retake it. Yeah. Which, to some degree, I think is fine, but only because that ended up being very helpful for me. Yeah. But like that kind of means that the kid can just kind of blow it off the first time, and then that he'll just have extra time to do it again.
So kind of what I did.
Yeah. So I don't really know if I necessarily agree with that method because. You know, like I said, it kind of just encourages the kid, or like not really encourages him, but allows the kid to just blow it off the first time and then redo it, and then, but you know, I think and then the teacher would take the better of the two scores, but like, I feel like in some earlier level grades that is okay, but like I feel like when you get to high school, I feel like that's when they should be kind of steering away from that.
Yeah, I agree.
And granted, it was like, did I take advantage of that? Oh hell yes, I did. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, if we didn't have that, that would have probably pressured me to study more for that first test, so that way I did
good on the first time rather than, you know, being able to bomb it the first time and then just retake it later.
See, we were both the valedictorians, so I mean,
oh,
like,
yes.
you know, yeah, like we were both number one. We tied for,
fuck that. I didn't get a single chord around my.
I had more than I wore, and I didn't bring them because I didn't like. Firstly, I forgot. Second, I did not give a shit because nobody should care about chords.
How did you get the? I know a lot of people had like the orange one, which was for like the capstone projects that we did. How did you get those? Was that like?
I
did you have to score
here.
a certain?
I think so.
You have to get a certain grade on it in order.
I got
to get
at least a 90 on everything. Relating to that, and I think that's why.
Okay. The only thing I got a 92 in the presentation. I got like 80s and 85s on everything else, but so.
Which brings me to a story about the club we were discussing earlier.
Yes.
Because my capstone project, as some of you may know, because I've already mentioned it on the podcast, I believe, was the hip-hop club that I ran at the high school for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Started sophomore year, and that was an unstructured mess. And junior year was when everything happened, really. And I got, like, junior year, every single month.
Down and dirty with the culture.
Exactly. This is why... This club ended up being my connection to a lot of people in Columbus. And, you know, that when I would say, like, hey, I run this thing at my high school, people in the Columbus hip-hop scene would be like, dude, that's, like, super dope. I've never heard of anything like this before. And they had never heard of anything like that before because it's kind of embarrassing at a high school like ours was, where no one else viewed hip-hop in the same way that I did, really. Yeah. And I was so much more involved in the culture than anyone else at the high school because of the environment we were in. And I don't blame them, you know. We were just pretty removed from that. And I was an isolated case. But I had speakers come in every single month. We had Senseless. We had Josh Miller come in. We had Jay Carey come in this past year. Who else? We had Eric Rollin come in from Miss Star Anderson. Shout out Miss Star Anderson. You guys are great.
Did Kenneth come in to do a full...
Kenneth did. Yes.
I know he came in to do photos for some of them.
Mm-hmm. But and then he actually did a presentation.
Okay. Kenneth
did present, and he showed everybody his photos and stuff, and that was cool. We had the guy, Jamie something. I'm not remembering his name, and I don't want to dishonor him, so I gotta find his name right now. But it's the guy who owns Flavored Flow Studios. James Alexander, I believe. James Alexander is the guy who teaches dance classes, like breaking, popping, and locking, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
And he came in, and that meeting ended up being like 3 people, but those 3 people were very dedicated to what he was talking about, and that was cool. Shout out Mike for coming to that, and coming to basically every meeting. That was cool. But he talked about the culture, and what culture means, and showed us some moves and stuff.
Yeah. And I know you invited me to a lot, and there were some that I tried to make it to, but for the most part, like, hip hop has never really been my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy some hip hop music, but it's not. I don't know if I could say it's my favorite genre of music. I don't really think I have a favorite genre of music. Right now, I kind of go through phases in what I listen to.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of like hip hop last year because you kind of introduced me to a lot of different hip hop music.
Mm-hmm. But you like indie stuff.
I do like, I listen to a lot of alternative and indie rock kind of stuff right now. But that's just, you know, I could be there. It kind of changes every year because, you know, freshman year it was kind of like metal. Sophomore year was kind of like EDM. Mm-hmm. Junior year was like hip hop, and now senior is more like indie. So it kind of fluctuates with where I'm at in my life, kind of thing.
I've been hip hop all 4 years. Like, it's been weird. Like, I still like a good chunk of indie rock.
Yeah,
but
I'm just very picky when it comes to the different hip hop that I listen to, because we went to Sam Rothstein's show a while back.
Yeah,
and like I like Sam's stuff a lot because his music is a lot more, at least from what I saw, it's a lot more kind of like...
It's insightful.
Yeah, it's insightful. It's
intelligently written.
It's more kind of like, I started here, now I'm here, here's how grateful I am for living
Started
this
from
life.
the top.
Started from... Yeah.
Now I'm shit.
It's like... No, but it's like...
No.
And for a lack of a better phrase, it's, you know, started from the bottom, now I'm here kind of music, which I appreciate. I kind of like that style more than, like, you know, the fuck bitches get money, which seemed to be more like the style of the guys who went on before him.
Which I can still appreciate.
Yeah.
Just not the lyric part, but, like,
the general flow and, like...
Yeah. The music sounds good,
right.
and they're very skilled in live performance.
Yeah.
But you value lyrics more than I do,
yeah.
which makes total sense. So I understand why you wouldn't be as into that. But I was vibing to the other guys. I thought they were really... I thought their music was really dope. I think Tree Mandela was one. Jay Vega, California with a K. And... hell, I'm not...
Was Jay Vega... Was he the first guy?
No, Jay Vega was the last guy. He went after you
Luca
left.
Moon or something?
Something like that.
Something.
I gotta find it now. I gotta shout out everybody.
Yeah. I stayed for the first two guys that went up, and then I stayed for Sam's. Then we had
Luno Moon.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, like they. I can appreciate the energy that they had, but for me, the whole, like, you know, fuck bitches, get money, get high, kind of attitude is just not my thing. I can appreciate the style.
Wait, you don't live that life?
No, I don't live that life.
What are we doing this for?
Because I'm 17. And half that shit's illegal for me.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, all drugs are illegal for everybody.
I mean, depending on where you live.
Not in Portugal.
But yeah, I'm just kind of...
Oh, shout out foreign listeners, actually. We have 2 from France now.
2 from France?
Apparently. 1 from Spain, 2 from France. We have a few listens from Ontario.
Oui, baguette. That's about it.
A few from Germany. I took French for 9 years.
Can you speak it fluently?
No.
No?
I can hear it and understand it and write it down, but I couldn't.
I took 2 years of Mandarin in high school, and that class was...
Really?
Yeah. Freshman and sophomore year, I took Mandarin.
That's wild.
It was a... Here's the thing. I loved those classes because I knew that every day I was going to go in and laugh my ass off because of how much of a joke that class was.
Yeah.
God bless that teacher, because she really tried her best to, like, teach us the language, the ins and outs, and, like, the culture, and, like, the Chinese culture and everything.
Yeah.
But she did not speak English. Like, she could speak English, but she didn't speak it, like, fluently.
Yeah.
And like, how... So she
enough to teach another language in English.
She also struggled a lot with understanding American sarcasm, so there was a lot of shithead kids that were able to get away with a lot of shit in that class. Which is one of the reasons why I laughed my ass off, because of just the absurdity that some of these kids would try to get away with.
That's one of the differences between you and I, because that would just frustrate the hell out of me. You know?
It frustrates me to some extent, but at the same time, like, because it's like, I'm cringing and frustrated because I know that it's like, you know, we're not actually, like, learning anything, but at the same time, it's funny because I know that the teacher has absolutely no fucking idea what's going on.
Fair enough.
It's one thing if the teacher knows what's going on and is getting mad.
Yeah.
It's another thing if the teacher doesn't understand what's going on and she thinks that this is just how we American schoolboys act.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But, like, there were these 2 kids that literally asked to go to the bathroom, left, booked it to Wendy's, and grabbed Frosties and ran back. And they came back, and she was like, "Where'd you get those?" And they were like, "Oh, they were left from our lunch." And she was like, "Okay."
So it looked like they shit in a cup. Yeah. Pretty much.
But it was like, there were kids that would just get away with the most obscure stuff, and there were times where she was a good teacher, and I learned some stuff. I know, like, some words and phrases. But there was there were times where she would have us do writing tests on the computer, where, like, in our laptops we could switch the language from, like, English to, like, an English keyboard to Pinyin, which is Pinyin is basically the American spelling of Chinese words. Yeah. So even though their alphabet is, like, it's in characters, but the way you say it and how you would see it in English is what Pinyin is. So you would write it in Pinyin, and then it would create the character for it. So we would do that online, but before she figured out what the lockdown browser was, where you can't access anything outside of that.
You guys just looked that shit up, didn't you?
We would use Google Translate and so...
You didn't even use word reference? Come on. You gotta get smart.
She would be, like, we would have the questions and the characters, but I could literally copy and paste them into Google Translate. and then answer them. Don't do this.
Probably has the worst grammar ever.
No, it probably does, but at the same time, she came up to me after I took the test, and she was like, "Oh, Gage, your writing was very good." And I was like, "Thank you." I just did so much study.
Shit.
I am a piece of absolute human garbage.
Wow.
Don't follow in my footsteps.
I'm gonna have to slam you on that one, man.
Yeah,
that's too far beyond my standards.
But at the same time, it's like, should I have done it? No. Should the teacher have been prepared for something like this? Yes.
I mean, Murphy's Law, I guess.
But
when you're in control of what goes wrong,
there's no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher.
Bullshit. Complete bullshit.
I believe in that philosophy to an extent.
Oh, God. Yeah, to some degree.
To an extent, yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's a story.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of, like, other big stories that have gone on. I have one story that happened during the 4th of July of one year in high school. This was going into... Was this going into sophomore year? Or maybe...
I don't know, you tell me.
I'm trying to think. Smart ass. But anyway, it was on the 4th of July. I was hanging out with some buddies of mine. And we were writing... it was on the 4th of July. We first started hanging out at the Tremont Park, or Northern Park, where they have all the tables. That's where the music is and everything. And then they have the fireworks after.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah. Right when the fireworks were about to begin, we were like, hey, do you guys want to go over to the middle school, hang out over there, and try to see if we can get a better view of, like, the fireworks from over there?
Remind me, I have a similar story after yours.
Sure. So we got over to the middle school, and we were like, let's climb to the roof.
I know about this one.
And so, we climbed up to the roof, and because they have, like, the electrical boxes and the pipes that up the, like, right side of the building. Yeah. So we climbed up there. We got to the top, and we could see the fire. Here's the thing: we couldn't see the fireworks any better than we could have over at Northam. So we climbed up, and we were like, "All right, we've seen it. Let's get down before the driving cars start calling the cops."
It just depends on how fast you get down.
Yeah. So we got down. So at first it was my buddy. We'll call him. We'll say his name is Jeffrey.
Okay.
I was with my friends Jeffrey and my other friend Emmanuel. We'll go for that. So Jeffrey starts climbing down the pipes. Phone's going off. I don't even know who that number was, but they text me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So climbing down, he slips. Jeffrey falls, and I just hear, and Jeffrey goes, "Ah!" And I was like, oh my god, I think I broke my arm. Oh my god, I think I broke my arm. And I think he's bullshitting because I don't think he, like, at first it's like one of those things.
That's something he would meme.
Yeah. It's haha, funny Jeffrey. But he's like, no, guys, I'm actually serious. I think I broke my arm. So me and Emmanuel, we work our way down. At first, his arm, we can't really tell at first, but we sit him down. He's like, it's pain. He's like, I can't. He's just like, he's basically like in shock. He like doesn't know.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh fuck, what do we do? And like this is and like the fire department is like literally like right there.
Yeah.
But he was like, I can't walk. You guys gotta call 911. But my phone, my parents locked my phone, so past 10 p.m., I could not call or text because I would stay up all night on my phone texting people. So they locked my cell data at 10 p.m., so I couldn't call anybody.
Smart.
Luckily, Emmanuel had his phone. He called 911, told him the situation. But we said that he fell off his bike because we didn't want to get in trouble for potentially trespassing.
Were there any bikes there?
There were bikes there.
Okay.
We said that he just fell off his bike, and that was the story. And then Emmanuel called Jeffrey's parents, and they took Jeffrey to the hospital. And so me and Emmanuel were just like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
it's a night out on the town.
Yeah, no, but like, so we were just okay. So for years on 4th of July, I would always stay over at Jeffrey's house on the 4th of July because that's just always what happens. We hang out on the 4th, we stay over at his house, just hang out. So that was the original plan, but Jeffrey was now on his way to the hospital. And so I stayed over, and I didn't really feel like going home. So Emmanuel was like, you can crash over at my place. So we went over, and like walking back to his house, we were just walking our bikes because we were just into like shocked that we just didn't want to ride it. So we were just kind of like silently walking back to his house, just going like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
And so we got back to his house, and I was just like, we were like trying to go to bed, but I was just like, for most of the night, I was just staring up in the ceiling, just thinking, because you're like, we're just young kids. Like, we were worried that we were going to get in trouble. It's funny because we got back to Emmanuel's house, and his dad was like, what were you guys doing on the roof of the school? And because I was like, how the fuck did he find out? And I forgot that Emmanuel was taking Snapchat videos and posting it. And I think I don't think his dad had Snapchat, but I think his sisters did. And they might have shown him or something, or maybe he tracked down the location or something. But Emmanuel was just like, oh, I was just up there earlier. And Dad was like, okay. Like, he could tell that we were bullshitting, but I was just kind of, like, sitting there silently, like, I'm just here.
I was like, that's fine.
But whatever, we went up. The next morning, I got up, and I was like, you want to get, like, breakfast or something?
Sorry, who it was?
I'm going to edit that out. What's the timestamp?
106.
Fuck,
yeah.
All right. I'll, like, record myself saying Emmanuel and putting over the name and, like, cover my mouth. But yeah, we was like, you want breakfast? And I was like, no, I think I'm good. And I just bike over to Jeffrey's.
I'm about to head
out. But I just take my bike over to Jeffrey's house, knock on his door. His mom opens the door.
He couldn't knock back.
Nope, because he was upstairs asleep, I think. Yeah. And his mom answers the door. She's like, hey, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, I was just coming to check in on Jeffrey, see how he was doing. He's like, he seems to be doing okay. He's asleep. He's resting right now. We didn't get home from the hospital until about 4 a.m.
Jeez.
I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So I was just making sure everything was okay. I was like, if you guys need anything, let me know. Give me a call, whatever. And they were like, thank you. I left, and here's the thing. Jeffrey was super pissed because him and I were supposed to go on vacation like a week later. And so every time we went to the pool or the ocean, he had to wear this giant fucking arm condom because he couldn't get his cast wet.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's rough.
That was like this. I've like been in such worse situations, but that was like my first like, while I'm in my 4 years of high school, that was like the first time it was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. No. But yeah,
I have a similar story that is also on July 4th, and this was last summer. That your situation was like, oh God, we could get in trouble with people of authority.
Yeah. And
this was me and a group of friends being in trouble of physical danger, like actually like getting the shit kicked out of us. And so I'll go ahead and preface. It was basically the same thing that he started with, where we were all at Northam and just sitting on the grass and looking up at the fireworks and stuff. And a little while through, we thought, hey, let's just go walk over to the high school and chill out there. And we walked over there and just chilled by like the back band doors or whatever. Mm-hmm. We were just sitting on the steps, and this group of like 4 shirtless dudes are across the street just walking around, and they're acting kind of funny. We're just like, oh yeah, they're just like dudes walking around, like it's Upper Arlington, nothing's gonna happen really. Mm-hmm. And so I was with my girlfriend Erica and her group of friends, and none of us had really been in any sort of altercation ever, really. So these dudes like, no, okay, I need more details before I go to there. So one of the guys, I mean, they're obviously drunk or high. Pick one, or pick 2. They could have been both. And
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Exactly. And the point is, they were not in their right mind.
Yes.
And I swear I saw one of them whip it out and piss on a tree, like right in front of us.
Neat.
Yeah, it was great. And one of them said something I don't remember what it was, but a member of our group heard it and laughed loud enough for them to hear. And they turned to us and they're like, what? Like that fucking like bro, like what? Like what's your problem, bro? Like come on. You want to go? You want this song? And it kind of sounded like Jake Paul there for a second, but I never want to sell him.
Is that every day, bro?
Is that every day, bro? Come on. And they start walking toward us, and then they back up a little bit. And then they start walking toward us again, and then they back up a little bit. And I'm like, what is going on right now? And eventually they just start approaching our group. And they're all like, do you want to fight? Like, they're actually like, these are big dudes, and they're all shirtless, so you know they're real. And, like, they're not in a place where they can make good judgment. And so it is very, you know, the event of them physically assaulting us is possible, and it is plausible in this situation.
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of walking up and, you know, like, you laugh at what I said again, like, you know, and at one point, like, I'm silent this whole time, and I'm getting in front of Erica and making sure they don't get within a fucking foot of her. And I didn't say anything, and one of them was like, what'd you say, bro? What'd you say? You want to do it again? You want to say something? I'm just like, dude, just get out of my face right now. And one of our other buddies behind me is like about to call 911 and stuff, and you know, it just got into a really hairy situation. And one of the guys was in a right enough mind where, like, it wasn't super graceful, but to one of our friends, he goes like, wait, and he did not know him at all, but he goes like, wait, guys, this is so-and-so from, like, so and where, you know, like, if however you say that for places, but it's like, hey, but, like, I know this guy. Like, guys, it's okay. Like, you don't have to, like, it's okay. You know, don't worry about it. And the other guys are like, you sure, bro? Like, you sure this is fine? And it's like, yeah, they're like, totally fine. They're not going to hurt us. And he's still, like, super drunk, so he's just kind of stumbling over everything. He's like, yeah, it's going to be fine. And so they back away, and they do the thing again where they back away a little bit, and then they, like, come back at us for a second, and then back away, and they keep going, and then they eventually get back across the street, and we're like, huh, okay, I guess we're fine now. And Buddy calls the cops, says, like, hey, there's some drunk assholes out here who are about to kick the shit out of us. We're by the high school. What's going on? And the second he hung up, you know how there's, like, the side street, so we're facing Holyoke. You know how Ridgeview's over here?
Yeah.
If you're facing that way, there's been a car that's just been sitting there this whole time, and we thought it was a regular ass car, just, like, parked on the street.
Yeah. There's a cop.
And yes. So they're walking like slowly away from the car. They don't know what it is. And the cops' lights just turn on immediately.
Yeah.
And we had no idea that was a cop car. It was sitting there the whole time, just bing, and it just starts, you know, wee, wee, wee. And two of the guys, they had drugs on them. It was for sure that they had drugs on them. And two of the guys sprint full speed away from the car, like, to due north, and they just fucking book it. And the other two, we watched them get arrested right in front of us. And it's like, that's what I call frontier justice.
Was the guy that kind of helped you guys out get arrested?
I think so.
That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, he was a bro. But I'll never know what his name was, but we watched him. We were like, our soldier, you know. But he got memed. He got thrown in the slammer. We don't know what happened to them, but all I know is that we watched them get arrested.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the only time in my life that I have felt legitimately threatened.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Do you have anything else?
Not really.
Is it about its time?
I think it's about its time. It's about that time.
To wrap up,
thank you everybody for tuning into this episode. Whether you listen, if I can fucking speak, whether or not you listen to us or you watched us on YouTube, we do appreciate you tuning into this episode, listening to our experiences in high school, what we thought about everything. We look forward
to doing more episodes throughout the summer and potentially into our college years. We want to keep this going as long as possible.
Check out our Ko-fi page.
Check out the Ko-fi page. Give us a few bucks if you want to help us out.
ko-fi/Gab Street Podcast. Mm-hmm. Haven't we made all of our social media stuff a little more?
I think I tried to look to see if we can change the Twitter name to Gab Street Podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't. At a first glance, I wasn't able to, so it's still at Gab_Street.
Okay.
Instagram though is Gab Street Podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to check us out on Redbubble, check out some of that, sweet merch that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode.
Just search Gab Street or Gab Street Podcast. You'll find it.
Yeah, you can also look up redbubble.com/people/Gab-Street. I'll make sure to have links in the description as well as on the screen here if you're watching in the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. Thank again for Green Room for sponsoring this episode of the Gab Street. I almost said Green Room Podcast. Gab Street Podcast. And we will see you guys next week where we will have a special guest.
And
thanks again to Cory and his dad for hooking us up with these sweet signs.
These suckers will be involved in the coming episodes. God, these are so cool.
These are cool.
I want to hang it up behind us and just have it be like our...
That's sweet.
Yeah. And we're going to be... What?
License plate.
Yeah. A huge ass license plate. We're going to be revamping the logo a little bit at some point soon. We're going to get some professional shots done.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Because right now it's just like, I like the street sign. We're going to keep that, but we're going to have it like not just a picture of Columbus that I ripped off the internet.
We're going to get it a little less copyrighted.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks again, everybody.
Have a good week. See you next Wednesday.